So hello everybody and welcome to another misleading charts video. This time we're going to talk about a chart that was shown on an article in a newspaper. So it's the one that you see behind me. It says like this: the Times leaves the rest behind in print and online. And to me this chart is misleading on the zoom out version. I'm going to explain you what I mean. Here's the thing. This has been printed on a newspaper. I'm not sure how you read newspapers, what I normally do, and I think most people do is you read the headline and you think like, okay, do I want to know more or not? Am I interested in this? If I'm not interested, I might look at a picture if they have put a picture there, and then I move on. So if I would be reading these on the newspaper, I'm not so interested about newspaper sales, so I would see, oh, the Time leaves the rest behind, and then I see a very nice line chart pointing upwards to the sky, and they say, oh, they're doing well. And then I will see the chart, the other bar charts, and say, oh, great, and then I move on. Okay, that is the problem with this chart. First of all, that line chart there, why do they put visitors and they do not compare it to the competitors, and then they put sales and that they compare it to the competitors. The fact that they are not putting visitors for the competitors, to me, is shady. So if you are claiming that you are doing better, and you're claiming that you're probably doing better on visitors, that's why you put the chart in there, you should compare it also to the competitors. They didn't do that. So they just put that up there. So it makes me wonder if in visitors online, maybe one of the competitors are doing better and they don't want to show it. But they want to put the line chart in there so you actually can see things going up. And then for people like me that will scroll the news, it just gets printed in my mind. So that is the first part that I think is very, very misleading. The next part is the bar chart. You look at the bar charts and you see, oh, the Time is doing a lot better. It's very interesting that they put a 2x2 grid. So you have this one and that one and this one and that one, as a square. And I was thinking, like, why would you do that? Why would you put it, normally if you're comparing things, you would put it side by side. So I put them side by side. Let's look at it. So here are sales side by side for the Daily Telegraph, the Guardian, and the Financial Times. And then you can see, if you don't look at the axis, which most people won't do because they are not interested in the story, if you don't look at the axis, you will see like, okay, the Guardian is the nearest competitor to the Times, and then it's the Daily Telegraph, just by looking at the space, right? Because that's what you do with horizontal charts. Horizontal charts, you are representing data by length, the length of the bar. So that's how you measure things. So the fact that the length in here is less than the length in there, it means that the Guardian is doing better, when in fact, that's not the case. And you might be like, how? Well, that's when you need to look at the axis. You see that these two, they start by 0, this starts by 400. And that's where I think this 2x2 grid is so misleading. And maybe they are saying, no, but we put it in another place, so we're not really comparing it to each other in case they were being called out. I don't know. I shouldn't assume things anyhow. But this is completely misleading when you are cutting off if you cut off the chart, the axis on all of them. To me, that's fine. I know there's a lot of controversy around cutting off x-axis just because of that, because the measure is the length of the bar, and if you cut it off, you could mislead. I don't think if you cut it off everywhere, it wouldn't mislead, and I think it's actually quite nice to cut it off sometimes so you can actually see the numbers, right? So you can see how big the jump is. Even if you exaggerate it, it doesn't matter. But the fact that here they are cutting off just for the Daily Telegraph, here's what I did. I just got the, more or less, it's very difficult to see the numbers here, so I just make an approximation and created these things in Power BI. So let's look at it, how it would look like if we didn't cut off the axis. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, the actual picture of how this thing looks. So the Daily Telegraph is selling almost as much as the Times, even though in here you wouldn't be able to tell. Then you have the Guardian, which is not doing bad, and then the Financial Times. Like, now think for a second, why are you comparing the Times with the Financial Times? The Financial Times is a niche newspaper focusing on finance. The Times is a everyday newspaper, right? So a general newspaper. So I think just the fact you shouldn't compare yourself with the Financial Times, but the Financial Times is a well-known newspaper, so they probably want to share like we're doing better than them too, which I wouldn't compare them. They are not in the same category. But anyhow, this is the real picture. This is what they showed us. And that is how you can mislead with charts when you're cutting the axis on one of them, not on all of them. Again, if I would have cut everywhere, you would have still been able to see. Maybe we should do that.
A few moments later.
Okay, I'm back. I actually cut off the axis. So it goes from 80,000 to 600,000, right? On all three of them. And as you can see, it just doesn't change the picture that much. It looks very similar. It just accentuates a little bit more the differences, but we're still not lying. So just cutting the axis, if you cut it everywhere, I don't think it's a problem. The problem is what they did here when they cut it just on one chart. So be careful when you're cutting charts. Now you can do that in Power BI also, so be very, very careful how you use that feature, because you can easily mislead. Okay, so Ari shared actually this chart with me on Discord. I'm going to show you what it is. So as you can see, it shows mass shootings by president, and you have Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush Jr. and Obama. And you can see that the criteria is for 4 or more people. And during the Obama term, there was 162 mass shootings. So this is what it read. On December 2nd, a website called TruthStream, any website that call themselves Truth, you should be wary of, TruthStream Media published a story titled, "Why Have There Been More Mass Shootings Under Obama Than the 4 Presidents Combined?" It included the chart that you see in here, and it said it was based on sources. They actually quoted the sources, probably to be more scientific and hoping that nobody would check them. But obviously somebody checked them. It is meant to be done. So somebody actually, the sources that they quoted was the Mother Jones database on mass shootings, which uses the 4 killed or more criteria, and the other ones were from Wikipedia. And that was the result. And people were not so very happy about this chart. Now, in order to understand what is wrong with this chart, you're probably going to need to do some research. So I'm not sure if you're up to it. Don't worry. I'll walk you through what was done in here, and it's actually quite an interesting way to mislead with charts. So I will see you next Wednesday, and we will crack this one then. Until then, take care, and I'll see you on Friday again.